Welcome to the show. Hi, I'm Randy Jeffers, and we are live from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, I'll tell you, we have a show that is going to be spectacular today. We have with us one of my old friends, Mr. James Bonecrusher Smith, who is live in Myrtle Beach, North Carolina. James, are you there?
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Yes, I'm here.
In South Carolina, that's right. Sorry. In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got to get that right. Well, James, it is so great to have you here. And for those of you, I'm sure most of you know his name, but he is the former heavyweight champion of the world and has had just a lifetime of incredible things that have happened. So, James, let's just kind of get into it a little bit. Tell us a little bit. You were born in North Carolina, right?
Yes, I moved to Myrtle Beach 8 years ago. Went to college at Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. Joined the Army, started boxing back in 1981. Had my first pro fight. And I fought everybody from Larry Holmes to Mike Tyson.
Now, you, as I understand it, as I remember, you were a little bit older than most guys when they start fighting, right? Seems like you were 28 years old when you started.
I was 28 years old. That's the age that Ray Leonard and George Foreman retired at 28. You know, they make comebacks, but they retired at 28. And I'm starting out and get knocked out my first fight on ESPN. And I had to really make a decision that boxing was for me. So I decided it was for me, and I won about 10 straight. And my first big break came in London, England, where I knocked out Frank Bruno in the 10th round. And the next fight, I was fighting Larry Holmes in Las Vegas for the heavyweight championship of the world.
My goodness. Now, you fought Larry Holmes twice, right?
Fought Larry twice. I was really supposed to fight him 3 times. I had knocked out Mike Weaver in the first round, and so they had promised Mike Weaver a world title fight. Don King had promised me a title fight, so I just took on my own to fly to Las Vegas. Larry Holmes was fighting Michael Spinks, and I made a deal with Larry Holmes and to fight the winner. And but Larry Holmes lost that fight. He had Larry Holmes, and Michael Spinks didn't want to fight me. So I started suing Don, and he started suing me because he wanted me to sign an exclusive contract, and he could provide the fighter. So we started suing each other. He called me up one day, and he wanted to settle the lawsuit. And so he says, "Well, I want to settle the lawsuit. I'm gonna give you the money too." Says the fight is gonna be against the guy that beat you last year, Tim Witherspoon. I said, "Oh, goodness gracious!" And I said, "Don, when is the fight? When is this fight? And what's it gonna be?" He said, "Well, the fight is gonna be on HBO." I had a chance to redeem myself on HBO. So I asked him again. I said, "Don, when is this fight and where is it gonna be?" He said, "Well, the fight is gonna be at Madison Square Garden, New York, and it's gonna be next week." He gave me a 7-day notice to fight. I had plenty of time to train, get ready for him. He beat me from pillar to post, and I got mad, Randy, and I had to make a decision. And I'd write a book called "Mad," explaining how I did it. And I knocked Witherspoon out in the first round on a 7-day notice.
Wow, my goodness. Well, you and I go back, I don't know, a few decades, more than we want to talk about probably, but you and I are almost exactly the same age. I think you're 19 days older than me, right?
Yeah.
But we got a chance to be in a lot of places together, and I remember your baby is how old now? James, how old is your baby?
Say it one more time, Randy.
No, how old is your baby?
30.
Your baby is 30. I remember going to a movie with you and your family when your baby was, what, 6, 7 years old, maybe, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Time does fly. My goodness. Amazing. So you have just an amazing life, and I know you also are an ordained minister, right?
Yeah.
And you also I know one of the things that's really near and dear to your heart are children's causes. Tell us about some of the charity things that you're involved in.
I have a mentoring program called Champion for Kids, and I speak to kids and encourage them to make good decisions, getting them the opportunity to read my book, and I do a lot of traveling, and I'm trying to create the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame Museum in Myrtle Beach, where we get other champions to be a mentor to the kids.
Wow! So the boxing Hall of Fame for South Carolina, North Carolina, or the Carolinas, or is it for the whole country?
Yeah, it would be designated here here where I live, and we get other champions to be part of it. I fought 10 world champions, so that would be the face of it. Trying to get them into Myrtle Beach on or about April 2018. You might want to plan to come to be with us. I'm coming out there, Las Vegas, probably next month, and to the big fight, Triple G and Canelo.
Great. Well, that should be a good fight. I can't wait to see you when you come here. So let's have dinner together, get together. But I don't want to miss an opportunity here, because as we are speaking, we are just a few days away from a big fight that's coming up. And do you want to weigh in on that one?
I think that's Mayweather and McGregor. I think McGregor has a shot early, and I think the anxiety and everything surrounding the big fight, he's probably going to get tired, and I give Mayweather a chance. I give him the odds to winning the fight late in the. He might knock the guy out because he's probably going to get tired, and he's probably never been in a situation like this before. And I think it's all going to set in when he gets into the ring. It's going to come to where he is and who he's fighting, all that. That's going to weigh on his brain. And, a mind is a terrible thing to waste and to lose. And so he's going to probably lose his mind before the night's over.
Yeah, there's a lot of psychology, I would imagine, in boxing. But, these guys are making an absolute fortune. Mayweather is the highest paid athlete in the world, right? And let's talk about that, because when you started, and you were there at a really interesting time when you started. What was pay like, for the champions? What did the heavyweight champions get for a fight?
Well, I made $230,000 when I fought Witherspoon the night I won the title. Made $1 million when I fought Tyson, and I beat Tyson. I had already had a contract signed for $6 million. $6 million 30 years ago is probably like $60 million today.
Yeah, but that's still a far cry from whatever Mayweather's getting for this fight. He's getting $250 million, I believe, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
maybe
he made something like that. He made something like that with the other guy, Pacquiao, too.
Pacquiao, yeah. I mean, it's just amazing what the numbers are. So, and I assume that you're probably real proud of that. I mean, it's an evolution of the sport. It's gotten it just keeps getting better and better, and better probably for the fighters, right?
Yes.
What, James? What one fight sticks out the most in your mind? Which one are you most proud of?
Well, I'm not the winner to become the heavyweight champion of the world was exciting and promising. But a lot of people ask me which was the toughest fight I ever had. And that is my ex-wife, Reba Smith.
Well, I know Reba, and she's a wonderful lady, and I don't want to talk any more about that. But but in terms of the actual boxing, what was the toughest fight for you?
Tyson. Mike Tyson. He was so short, and at that time the media had built him up more than what he was.
Yeah. Now you're a pretty big man, so you know God blessed you with a pretty big body. You're what, 6'4", 6'5", something like that?
6'4".
Yeah, and so
And Mike was about 5'10".
yeah, that's a big, huge difference. So he could sneak right in there, huh?
Yeah, definitely no chance. Yeah.
Yeah. How about Larry Holmes? What was that like fighting him?
Oh, it was tough. Larry beat a lot of people. Beat Muhammad Ali and a whole lot of people. He held the title for about 6-7 years.
Yeah, that was a long time. Now, you never had a chance to fight Ali, though.
No.
Did you ever get close to that?
No.
No?
I had a chance to spend a lot of time with him and Joe Frazier as well.
Did you?
I started out at Joe Frazier's gym at Philadelphia.
Wow. Well, one of our mutual friends, Gene Kilroy, he's a friend of mine, and of course he was really close with Ali all his life, and I have heard some amazing stories about the quality of person that Muhammad Ali was, and what a giving guy he was.
Yes.
Yeah, do you have any favorite stories that you can share about any of the boxers?
No, I'm in the process of reaching out to 10 world champions that I fought and trying to work it out so we will be the face of the Hall of Fame Museum in Myrtle Beach. And so it's, I'm going to have to offer them something. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to offer, but, I'm going to give them an opportunity to be part of it. If they want to do that, which is going to be a good thing for us, then we give them something special down the road as we go. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I can't wait to come and visit that. When do you plan on having it open?
Well, I'm going to try to get them out of here in April, and we look around together and pick out a good spot, and probably within 12 months of the next year, maybe 19.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, it's a great town for it. A lot of tourists there, for sure. So, James, let me ask you a question. I don't know if anyone has ever asked you this, but what's the feeling like? What goes on inside of a guy like you when you win a fight, or let's say when you win the world championship? That's got to be like one of the most incredible feelings that a person could ever have. Walk us through what that feels like.
Oh man, a lot of hard work go into it, and sometimes a court battle goes into it. I mean, sacrifice and all kinds of things, and it's a great feeling, especially a guy that I knocked out. Was a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, and he beat me the year before. And so, it was, and to win it, I did it on the 7-day notice, a first-round knockout. That was incredible. It was hard to explain that feeling.
Yeah, it probably takes a while for it to even sink in, I would imagine, huh?
Yeah, everything comes to get you. Everybody want a little piece of the champ,
Yeah. So now, obviously, as I mentioned, God bless you with a big body, and so you had a little edge over a whole lot of people. But what got you into boxing in the very beginning when because you had a pretty extensive amateur life, right? You had a lot of fights, amateur fights.
Well, I had about 30 or 40 fights as an amateur. Not really a whole lot. But, I wanted to retire rich and famous, so I'm still working on the rich part.
Well, you are rich beyond belief with just all the lives that you have blessed, I'm sure. But did you fight a lot as a kid? What got you into you remember your very first fight you had?
No, I was a little bit bigger, and I was an athlete. I played basketball and big and strong. So when you're that way, if you don't pick fights, you don't get into fights. Nobody pick a fight with you.
You were too big for anybody to pick a fight with, probably, huh?
Yeah.
Well, so your first amateur fight, what year was that?
Let's see. I was probably 1976.
So you were in college. You were just out of college then?
Yeah, and I joined the Army.
Oh, you did.
After that, so, yeah, I was in the Army.
I see. So you started in the Army.
Yeah.
So you got a little.
I don't think my success could have worked any differently than it did. You know, and winning the title, becoming the first college graduate to become heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, I did a lot of things, a lot of firsts when I speak with us that night.
Yeah. Now I remember you also were a prison guard, I believe, right, or a policeman?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I learned by working as a prison guard, I didn't want to do things that could get me on the other side of the fence.
I can imagine. Yeah, you got to see the other side pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what has been the biggest blessing in your life because of boxing? What kind of things were you able to do?
Well, I was able to travel, you know, because of boxing. I mean, I've been to a lot of different areas around the world, and to take my family to those areas. I mean, you know, and my mom and dad is able to take them and accumulate some nice things, you know, with my life. And now I'm in a situation I've positioned myself to continue the legacy. We're doing a documentary of my life and how I went from a small town, Magnolia, to Madison Square Garden, a big city, to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and now created the Boxing Legends Hall of Fame, where people and family and friends and fans and fighters can come and enjoy themselves and have a great time and continue the legacy and go down and further down in history.
Well, you know, it just doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Now, you wrote a book a couple years ago, I believe, right?
About 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Was that your first book?
Yes.
And what's the name of it?
MAD, M-A-D, Make a Decision.
Can you say that one more time?
MAD, M-A-D.
Yep.
Make a Decision.
MAD, Make a Decision. Okay. And so if somebody that's listening to us right now wants to purchase that book, can they pick that up at Amazon, or how would they get that?
Yeah, they can order it through Amazon.
Okay.
Or call me, and I'll send it to them. I'll autograph it and send them a picture along with it, me and Mike Tyson.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I think we have Mike Tyson showing up on the screen right now. You and Mike Tyson, and I believe it's the one of you taking a pretty heavy punch from him. You remember that punch?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Of all 50, he would share that one. So they call me at 910-658-3408. Text me, 910-658-3408.
Okay, let's do that one more time and make sure that people can get that a little bit slower. Go ahead, one more time. 910 okay. 658 3408. 3408. Okay, great. And let me just explain that you're coming in over the audio only. We had a little technical difficulty on the video part since you're so far away, but I think everybody can hear you pretty good. It's probably easier for people listening to hear you than it is a little bit tough for me right now. But man, it's so great to hear your voice. Just to hear your voice, you know, you have inspired. I've watched you inspire people. You have been just an amazing inspiration, amazing blessing to a lot of people, and you know, you just have had just an amazing life. What?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Randy, and it's been great meeting you and spending time with you. And if I come to Las Vegas next month, I will definitely give you a call.
Well, we're going to definitely hook up for sure, and you know, we need a boxing Hall of Fame here in Las Vegas. Maybe we can put something together here.
Yeah.
There are, you know, there's a lot of boxers that they retire here, so there's quite a few of them that are here. We just lost one of the great ones, Kenny Norton, this last year, and did you get a chance to know him?
Yes, I would see him at the. You know, they have a Hall of Fame up in New York, and I would see him up there and spend some time. I spent time with a lot of the guys, and I think a lot of them would want to come here as well.
Yeah, I would imagine. Who do you admire the most out of all the people that you know of in the boxing world? Who do you admire the most?
Well, you know, I like Muhammad Ali. I spent a lot of time with Ali, and he used to come to North Carolina, and they would call me, his group would call me, and we would get together, and he's been to several of my fights, and I know his family and his son, and he was a great guy.
Yeah, everything I know about him, he was just an amazing guy, and you know, I've heard just some from insiders that knew him well, just some amazing stories of things that he's done for people. But he sort of lived his life in a different way than the public way. You know, his private life was one of giving a lot, and you know, a lot of people just saw the public side of him, where he, you know, and they, you know, when he would talk about being the greatest and brag a little and did all that. But there was a whole other side to him, wasn't there?
Yeah, that stuff was showman. He was a showman.
Yeah, well, he certainly brought the troops out. They all came out to see him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He kind of turned the whole industry around, didn't he?
Yeah.
So James, when you were a little boy, who did you follow boxers at all back then?
No, I got a late start. I really didn't. I followed him, you know, as I got older.
Yeah.
But I really didn't get into it that much.
He was how much older was he than you? Or,
I think he was about 10 years older.
yeah, but he started really young, didn't he?
Yeah. He was 18.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know, I have a when you come here, I'll show you. I have a big picture of him when he was 12, and in a boxing stance, which is pretty interesting. He looked pretty darn tough as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, he won the Olympics. I think he was about 17, 18.
Yeah. Now, were you in the Olympics at all?
No.
Okay. Well, what question have you never been asked that, if you were me, that you would ask yourself?
I don't know. I don't know. What do you remember about Bone Crusher Smith? What's the most exciting thing you remember about James Bone Crusher Smith when you met him?
Hey, there we go. So let me ask that then. What's the most exciting thing you remember about James Bone Crusher Smith?
So that question was for you.
Oh, well, you know, let me just preface it this way. Let me ask you a question. Now, out of boxing, which you made an absolute fortune, and you know, to make $1 million for, and it's not just a few minutes in a fight, because there's all the preparation. But besides boxing, you know, who did you make the most money in the rest of your life? Who did you make the most money with?
I think I made it with Randy Jeffers with Delica.
Well, you know, you and I had a nice run back in the 90s, and we got to travel around, and you were on the President's Council, and you had a chance to, I remember some really large events, and you were up there motivating the troops and you know, blessing a lot of people. And you know, that's what I remember about you. You know, you were you know, you didn't put on airs. You were just even though you had all this incredible success, you're approachable. People could come up and talk to you and learn from you, and just the wisdom that you imparted in those trainings. You remember all those training things that you did, just filled with a lot of wisdom. And I guess let me just ask you this, because boxing has its own life lessons, I would, that really are different than what a lot of people learn. And if you could just pick out one life lesson that most people should know that you learned from boxing, what would that be?
Well, I would say not only in boxing, but just the normal way of life is to focus and concentrate on something you have a passion for. And it could be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be boxing, but it could be anything. And but whatever you follow your dream, follow your passion, and work hard.
And don't stop. Yeah, I mean it's really about working hard. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that, are they?
Right.
Yeah. So.
I'll be 65 my next birthday.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of retired, somewhat retired, but I'm still working hard. I work hard all the time, and 2 knee replacements, and I'm up moving around and doing things, making things happen.
I remember talking to you years ago after, you'd been retired for some time, and but you boxed again after that, as I remember. You boxed pretty late in life, right? You were. Didn't you do some things that at an age that most people would not even want to think about doing?
Right. Right.
How old were you on your last fight?
I can't remember it. I'm so old I can't remember. I lost my memory.
Yeah. Well, it was an amazing run. You've had just an amazing life. But let's talk a little bit about. I know you have just a wonderful family, and probably boxing has allowed for your family to have changed in some incredibly positive ways that might not have happened had you not been in boxing. Tell us about some of that.
Well, my daughters are librarians, and my ex-wife's an attorney, and I am creating a Boxing Legends Hall of Fame for my daughters and stepson at Myrtle Beach, and hopefully I will show them how to continue the legacy. I'm very excited about that. That's what gives me drive and motivation every day.
Did any of your daughters want to be boxers, like Ali's daughters?
They thought they did, but one of the things that's going to happen to me Saturday, Randy, and I want the world to know that I'm going to be recognized as a living legend from a historical black college, and along with Earl the Pearl Monroe and some of the other local athletes and people that have gone on and done some pretty amazing things, and I'm very excited about that. And then we're going to watch the big fight. We're going to be there in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and going back to Fayetteville, and we're going to watch the fight in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I train and prepare for a lot of fights. Wow,
my goodness. What does that feel like to be a living legend?
Well, I thought I was a living legend anyway, but now I'm going to be
Well, some of us are just legends in our own mind, but you're the real thing. It's amazing. I was telling a couple people today that you were going to be on my show, and I think everybody in the world knows your name. I mean, it's and many people they could just name the fights. It's just it's really interesting, isn't it, that you have that you've had that effect on people where they know the fights you were in, they know the rounds, and when you knock somebody out, they really followed it closely.
Yeah, and I really want to kind of give a tribute and a shout out to myself. A lot of the guys over their careers and over their lives, they find a way to get in trouble. And one of the things that I didn't do, and thanks to my mom and my dad for really training me and training us as we were kids, and we learned how to respect people, to learn how to talk to people, and learn how to do right and not really get in trouble. And I'm very grateful of that,
Oh, absolutely. What do you think about what all is going on in society? It's a lot of things has changed in the last 10 years or so. It's amazing, isn't it, to watch what's going on?
Yeah.
And you live kind of in that part of the country where a lot of that is happening, I think, more so than out here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think respect is a big word, and you love your neighbor as yourself. And those are things that our parents taught us, and I think one of the problems is a lot of kids are trying to grow up without one of their parents, and that's a problem.
That's a big problem, yeah. Now, James, I mentioned that you were an ordained minister, and what kind of things have you done in that area of your life?
Well, recently I preached a funeral. One of my trainers had passed, and I did the eulogy for them, and I've done that a couple of times. I've done some marriages, and I preached, normal sermons. I don't do a lot of that for those special occasions. I can't do that. I'm into the Word a lot, and because I want to go to heaven one day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's people that watch us from all over the country and actually from all over the world, and for those young people that are listening to your voice right now, that not everybody is in a situation where they really want to be. There's a lot of bad things that happen to people, certainly. And what advice do you have for those kids that just might not be in a position where everything is good is coming their way right now?
I would go to a Bible store, and I'd get me a Bible, and I'd read it as much as I could, and try to get a great understanding, and the Bible will lead you and guide you in the right way.
Wow. You do know that is not politically correct right now to be talking this way, right?
Yeah, right. But I know what works for me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Were you a Christian when you were, as you were coming up? Were you raised as a Christian?
Yes. We had to go to Sunday school and church, and we did that. And our parents was Christians, and it was great. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. So what was it like as a Christian when you faced some guy like Mike Tyson and you just knew you wanted to kill him?
Well, I knew he had hell in him, so I tried to beat the hell out of him.
Now that's a pretty good answer.
You like that?
Yeah. Have you kept up with Mike Tyson at all?
Not really. We were together. All the living heavyweight champions were together about 3 years ago in Fort Lauderdale. Everybody was there except Muhammad Ali, Buster Douglas, and George Foreman. All the living heavyweight champions was in one place at one time.
Wow. Wow, that's great.
We had a blast.
Yeah, well, maybe you get a chance to see, Mike lives out here in Las Vegas, so maybe you get a chance to see him when you're out here.
Yeah.
Well, we just have a few more minutes left, so let me just ask you about the future. Besides the Boxing Hall of Fame, what else is going on in James Bonecrusher Smith's life?
Well, I'm doing some cryptocurrency. I made some investments in currency, and recently I've been involved. Last couple of years I've been involved with cryptocurrency.
In the bitcoins? Is that what we're talking about, Bitcoin?
Well, we do a OneCoin. There's about 600 different cryptocurrencies out there, and Bitcoin is probably the biggest one.
Uh-huh.
And I definitely need some of that, but I don't know if now is the right time to buy some of that Bitcoin. It was as low as 10 cents a coin.
Yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin is what? It's up over. It's up over 4 right now, right? I believe. Right now.
It ain't going up to 4. I think it's down close to $3,000 a coin now. They're
Is it?
saying it's going to $10,000 a coin, so now still might not be a bad time to get some of it.
So now, James, are you involved in OneCoin?
Yes.
Okay, so that is a company that has a home-based business attached to it, right?
Yes.
So if someone out there is listening to us and they want to maybe make a little extra money or learn about a home-based business, can they call you and get involved with you?
Yes. 910-658-3408. That's my cell phone.
Okay, they can call you and talk to you directly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can't do that with just everybody. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good for a celebrity to give his stuff on out. That could go worldwide, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's very good. So now OneCoin, tell us about OneCoin. I know that the biggest earners in network marketing are in OneCoin. They have far surpassed any other company. And I know if you go and look at the top 200 earners in network marketing, there's a whole bunch of OneCoin's earners on there. What are some of the incomes that some of these guys are making?
Man.
They're big numbers, aren't they?
Yeah, they're big numbers. Yeah, they're big numbers.
Well, for those that are interested, get a hold of James. And once again, James, that phone number is
910-658-3408.
3408. Okay. And is it pretty easy to get started? Do you have to have a lot of money to get started?
No, I think it's free, and you can just buy your package.
Okay.
But the package is only like $150, something like that.
So you can get started and have your own business and actually build yourself a team and make some money, huh?
That's right.
Okay. Well, that's fabulous. Any other things that you're doing? What kind of family thing? Let me ask you this: What's James Bonecrusher Smith going to be doing in about 5 years?
Spending some part-time at the Hall of Fame and being a mentor to my daughters and being there for them and taking them fishing.
There we go. You got good fishing up there where you are. Do you have any, we got to start a senior citizen boxing group and get some of you guys out there and do a couple rounds.
Not me.
Do you ever do any of that? Not actual boxing, but just kind of show and tell. You ever do any of that when you're traveling around signing autographs?
No.
No. You've had enough of it, huh?
No. Had enough of that.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that you do a lot of autographs and probably some of the sports memorabilia stores and some of the traveling that you do. Is that right?
Yeah, slammer books. Yeah. That's what. Matter of fact, if I come, that's the big reason I'm coming is a lot of the guys are getting together and they're doing book signings. They're doing autograph signings. Yeah, they got a book. They signed that too. That before the fight, there, Canelo and Triple G.
Yeah. So if somebody's here in Las Vegas and they want to see you while you're here, the first thing to do is order your book. They can get that from. Are you going to have some books available here, or are you going to? Or should they order it ahead of time?
I'm going to bring some books with me and probably have some shipped there as well.
Okay. And then so they can order it ahead of time and then bring it, and you'll be somewhere where they can actually sign some autographs.
Yes.
Okay, and they can call you and get all the arrangements. Do you have a website, James?
Yeah, championforkids.org.
Championforkids.org. And this is your organization that devoted to children and children's causes, right?
Yeah, it's my nonprofit 501c3.
And what if you could pick one thing that this organization has done that you're most proud of? What would that be?
Just mentoring kids, inspiring them, encouraging them to make good decisions, and be respectful.
you think kids have changed? You think kids are different now than they were back when you were growing up?
Yes, and the reason being is one parent families, a lot of one parent families, and I don't think the mother is hard enough or don't give the proper discipline that the father gives. A mother teaches different than a woman teaches different than a man. So a mother can give a certain amount of love, and but sometimes, especially boy, needs that fatherly tough love.
They certainly do sometimes, especially when it comes from somebody big like you. Sometimes they just need to be scared a little bit, right? Have a healthy fear.
Yeah, because once they leave home, they're gonna be scared. I mean, they're gonna have some fear from gangs and different things, police and different things. They're gonna have some fear.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I told you, but I have an 8-year-old. Not bad for an old guy like me, huh?
Wow, that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, I got an 8-year-old and a 16-year-old, so they're going to be excited to come out and see you when you get here. So, can't wait to see you, and we'll look forward to that. But in the meantime, I want to encourage everybody to go get James's book. And once again, James, the name of the book is?
MAD, M-A-D, Make a Decision.
Okay, and roughly what is the cost of the book?
$20.
So $20, and you can pick it up on Amazon, or if you're here in Las Vegas when James comes out here next month, you'll be able to pick it up from him directly. But if you have it with you, then he'll be glad to sign that for you, and you'll sign it for what, an extra $100, something like that?
No, I won't charge that. No.
Well, James, it is just it's so great to reconnect with you and have a chance to just visit a little bit. We have about 1 minute left. Any last words of wisdom for everybody?
Well, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story and to be part of this program. And again, go pick up a Bible if you don't have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Today is the day that you start that relationship.
Absolutely. Well, that's well said. It couldn't have been said better. Well, James, thank you once again, and say hi to the family, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month.
Okay.
All right.
I'll give you a call.
Thank you, James. Take care. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.